You ever had a teacher with literally no common sense? My math teacher, Mr. Peterson, decided our final exam was more important than a literal tornado warning. The sirens were blaring outside, and you could see the sky turning that sick green color through the windows. Every other classroom was filing out toward the basement hallways, but Peterson walked over to our door, turned the deadbolt, and pocketed the key. Nice try, class. You're not getting out of this test with some weather drama. I've seen every trick in the book. My friend Sarah raised her hand, voice shaking. Sir, that's the actual tornado siren. The whole school is evacuating. We need to go downstairs right now. Peterson didn't even look up from his desk. I've lived in this town for 40 years. That's just a severe thunderstorm warning. Happens every spring. You have 35 minutes left on your exam. The wind outside started howling. Not regular wind, this deep, unnatural howling that made the old windows rattle in their frames. You could hear debris hitting the side of the building. Thunk, thunk, thunk. I glanced at Jake sitting next to me. His dad was the local meteorologist and had taught us all the tornado warning signs since we were kids. The hail that had been pounding the roof for 10 minutes suddenly stopped. Dead silence except for this weird, distant rumbling sound, like a freight train that was still miles away. Jake leaned over and whispered, "That's rotation. There's definitely a tornado forming." Peterson's head snapped up. "Mr. Williams, one more word and you all automatically fail this exam. I don't care if your father thinks he knows weather." The rumbling was getting closer, way closer. You could feel it now, this low vibration coming up through the floor tiles. Then the lights went out. Complete darkness for maybe 3 seconds before the emergency lighting kicked in, casting everything in this eerie red glow that made Peterson's face look demonic. Sarah stood up from her desk, her test paper scattered on the floor. "I'm leaving. My mom is probably freaking out right now." "Sit down immediately or you're expelled," Peterson shouted, but his voice cracked. He was getting scared too, you could tell. She walked straight to the door and tried the handle, locked tight. Peterson was standing there like a prison guard, jingling the key in his pocket with this sick smile on his face. Nobody leaves until time is called. That's how tests work in the real world. The freight train sound was getting exponentially louder. Through the windows, you could see other kids from different classes running across the courtyard toward the main building, teachers herding them along. That's when we heard it, this massive crack from somewhere outside. Like a gunshot, but 100 times louder. A massive oak tree had just exploded against the side of the building. The whole room shook. Plaster dust started falling from the ceiling tiles. Jake jumped up from his desk, grabbed the red fire extinguisher from the wall mount, and without hesitation swung it straight into the door's window panel. Crash. Glass everywhere. The safety wire held most of it together, but there was a hole big enough to climb through. "Everyone out, now!" Jake yelled over the roaring wind. Peterson lost his mind. "Vandalism! That's expulsion for everyone! I'm calling your parents! I'm calling the police!" But we were already moving. Sarah went through first, careful of the jagged edges. Then me, then 3 other kids. Peterson was literally screaming about property damage and lawsuits as we squeezed through one by one. We ran down the hallway, emergency lights strobing, ceiling tiles starting to buckle from the pressure changes outside. The stairwell was packed with kids from other floors all heading down. Hit the basement just as we heard this sound I'll never forget, like the entire world was being torn in half right above our heads. The tornado ripped the roof clean off our classroom and the chemistry lab next door, and half the second floor. Peterson was found 25 minutes later by the fire department, still sitting at his desk, covered head to toe in pink insulation and broken glass, somehow completely uninjured, but in total shock. He turned in his resignation letter the next day. The school board later said if we'd stayed in that room, the falling debris would have killed us all. Jake got a medal from the fire chief for his quick thinking. Peterson never taught again.